So then here we are at round 6 of the GP2OS season here in Canada. Senna on pole, Irvine second. Lights are on. And we are away here in Canada. It seems like a good start from Senna as they all fly down into turn 1. But it's Alesi trying to go down the inside there. Down they come into turn 1. Seems like Senna holds on to P1, followed by Eddie Irvine, John Alesi, Nigel Mansell, Damon Hill in 5th. Martin Brundle running in 6th place. Johnny Herbert in 7th. Morbidelli is attacking him for said 7th place as they now head down into this tight twisted section here of Montreal as they fly around. But Senna leads, Irvine 2nd, Alesi 3rd, Mansell in 4th, Hill 5th, and Brundle in 6th place, Herbert 7th, Morbidelli 8th. But there's Herter here, maybe trying to look down the inside of Morbidelli. Is he going to get that one done? We've got Rydell as well trying to go down the inside of Larini here. Through he goes. So Rydell up into P10, Larini 11th, Panis 12th, Hackman 13th. And then here we go, Damon Hill though, looking to go down the inside of Nigel Mansell. He's got that one done. Damon Hill is up into P4, nearly hitting the back of John Alesi there. But Damon Hill now running P4 for Williams. Nigel Mansell, P5 for Ferrari. As Hill is looking very, very aggressive here. Is he going to try one down the inside of the chicane? He is indeed. That's very risky, but he's going to try it. He's going to try it on John Alesi. They're now going to go side by side down the main straight. And that's Brundle as well looking to capitalise on this. What's Brundle going to do is now they come down into turn 1. That's Mansell down the inside. That's Herbert down the inside. What a move from both of them there. Herbert up into 4th, Mansell in 3rd. And the one who's lost out from this is Hill. It looks like, and Alesi as well. But Alesi is still challenging Damon Hill here. But Damon Hill's lost out. Alesi's 5th, Damon Hill lost out the most of this here, battling for 3rd, and now he's dropped down to 6th. But Mansell there, what a move from the Brit. Sending one up the inside there at turn 1. And now I've got Johnny Herbert as well, followed him through, and that was incredible. But Brian Herter now attacking Brundle. Brundle is through. Rydell overtakes in the same place he overtook for 10th in the last lap. As they make their way round. There's Eddie Irvine just following Senna, Mansell 3rd, Herbert in 4th place, Alesi 5th, Hill running at 6th, Herter 7th, Brundle in 8th, Rydell 9th, Morbidelli P10, Panis P11, Larini P12 for Shikella, P13, as here they come to the chicane. So, as Hill again trying it at the chicane. I think he's just got to wait for the main straight here. Because he'll just be able to get past Alesi if he just waits for the main straight. But no, I think he's getting overtaken by Herter now. But he's going to try and defend it. There we go. So he sends it back up the inside. Not want to let Herter through, but Herter now fighting for 6th place. So we now have a look at how things are going on. Mancinelli there behind his teammate Hakkinen, Sonny Hayes. Who, in recent news, he's shown that he's been quite demoralised at the moment. Struggling with that Tyrrell. Michael Schumacher, Fittipaldi, Jos Verstappen. Jos Verstappen now is going to try down the inside of Christian Fittipaldi on his teammate. There we go, he gets that one done. There's Frentzen as well, seems to be struggling a bit. And Barrichello in 26th. And there's a lock-up from Alesi! There's a big lock-up from Alesi there. What happened there? Is it a failure or is it just a genuine mistake? Let's have a look. Down into the chicane. Oh, he gets hit. He gets hit by Brundle there. Brundle, wanting a bit of an audacious move, punts Alesi out of the way. And that gives way for Herter in 7th place. He's now going to maybe look down the inside of Brundle for 6th. The Senna sets a new fastest lap. But here we go. Herter now trying to go down the inside. Rydell as well going down the inside of Alesi maybe at the chicane. No. That is Herter through on Brundle for 6th. So Herter capitalised there. But here we go. Brundle and Alesi having at it again. Alesi cuts back. He's not going to go for the move. But a very interesting first 4 laps here in Canada. Alesi, unfortunately, ever Brundle is under investigation there. So Brundle under investigation for causing contact with another car. There's Nigel Mansell, Johnny Herbert, Damon Hill, Brian Herter, Martin Brundle there under pressure from Alesi. Is Alesi going to try someone down the inside? I think he is here. Yeah, he's going to get that one done. Rydell, though, is looking quite racy. He's going to try and go down the inside or make a move. And that's also Larini there going to go down the inside of Fisichella, is he? He is indeed. Oh, lock ups. Oh, it's a car off! That's Brundle! Brundle's gone off! Brundle's gone off! What's happened to Brundle? He's been hit! He's been hit and he's gone off! And he rejoins awfully there into the path of Larini. The Brundle there gets hit off the track. I don't know what you'd like to call that. Karma, maybe? Who knows? But unfortunately, that's Brundle now in 13th. But now the two Ligiers are going at it. They probably want to stop doing that if they want to have a chance of getting points. And there's Sonny Hayes as well looking to capitalise. And there's Taki Inui looking to go down the inside, but no. And Sonny Hayes, though, he doesn't need a second invitation. Through he goes. And that's Michael Schumacher as well making moves in the background there. But Sonny Hayes is going to try and go around the outside of Taki Inui. He's going to get this one done in a Tyrrell. Let's have a look. Now they come then, he's going to get it done, he is indeed. So Sonny Hayes up into P16 now after a poor start. Now running P16 there for the British outfit. There's Morbidelli now under pressure from Gerhard Berger, our race winner in Monaco, remember. Through he goes. P10 Berger looking to gain quite a few positions here. As now Takinui's under pressure here from Hakkinen, but as everyone makes their way around the chicane. What goes on here? Sonny Hayes still ahead. I wonder where Berger's gone though. Oh, there he is. Sorry, not for Hakkinen. He's Sonny Hayes under pressure. Oh, there we go. Fisichella through in 11th. So Fisichella now up into P11. As Jojo later maybe trying to move on Brundle, but not getting that one done. Or is he going to get it done? No, he's not going to send it to the first corner. But Gianni Morbidelli says, yes, please, I'll have that. Sends it down to the inside of Fisichella, and he's now up into P11 is Morbidelli. Morbidelli's through. So they now make their way round. First sector, Sonny Hayes trying to catch up Taki Inui. It's Taki Inui there. That's Joshua Stappen, P22, Frenson 23rd, Coulthard running P24, Fittipaldi 25th, and Barrichello 26th. So the Sauber struggling quite a bit. There we have Nigel Mansell, Johnny Herbert, Damon Hill, Brian Herter, John Alesi, Rydell. There's Berger though, down the inside of Panis. Berger making moves. Brundle Leto as well, down the inside of Fisichella. So let's see here. There's all the contact there. That's Coulthard. Bit of a scrappy move there from the Scot. Let's have a look. The guy goes down the inside and tries to make a move on the Pacific, but overshoots. And again, we're just seeing this happen again and again, making contact with Babika Mohammed in his second race. Senna though leads pretty comfortably at the moment. Eddie Irvine P2, Nigel Mansell in P3, Herbert 4th, Damon Hill 5th, Hertz 6th, Alesi 7th, Rydell in 8th, Berger 9th, Panis 10th, top 10, Morbidelli 11th, Brundle P12, Leto 13th, Fisichella 14th, Larini 15th, Inui 16th, Hayes 17th, Schumacher 18th, and Hakkinen leading his teammate there, 19th and 20th. Coulthard, Babika Mohammed, Heinz-Harald Frentzen, Josh Stappen, Fittipaldi under pressure there from Barrichello. But Senna is trying to check out, but Eddie Irvine is not letting him go that easy. So Eddie Irvine still has him in his sights, but Hill as well has slowly been catching up his teammate here. So Hill is looking quite quick, maybe looking to get past his teammate as soon as possible. That's Larini there, trying to go down the inside, and he gets that one done quite cleanly. That was a good move there from Larini. Down the inside of Brundle, Schumacher gets past Hayes there. And that's Alex Mancinelli down the inside of Mika Hakkinen. Mika Hakkinen there gets the move done on him. And Mancinelli now ahead of his teammate, Mika Hakkinen. So there's Senna, Eddie Irvine, Mansell, Johnny Herbert under pressure from Hill here. So Johnny Herbert, there's a car, is that car in the pit lane or is that a car off? Let's have a look. Electrical problem for Brundle. Brundle's in with an electrical problem. So that's a premature pit stop there for the Brit. So I'm not sure if they might fix that in the pit lane, but Hill now is trying to go down the inside of his teammate Johnny Herbert. He's going to get this one done, he is indeed. So Hill is through on Johnny Herbert. So Hill is through on his teammate. And there's Brian Herter as well, just ahead of John Alesi. Rydell. Berger. Hannes as well. Morbidelli. But I think things are beginning to just settle a bit. The dust is beginning to settle at the moment. But a very premature pit stop from Jordan. I think that they've got the electrical problem fixed in the pit lane, so whatever the problem was, yeah, it is fixed now. But will that save them for the rest of this race? We do not know. Nigel Mansell. Damon Hill, though, is probably going off the charge of Nigel now. But things are beginning to settle a bit there. Panis ahead of Morbidelli, Lato there. Running P12. Keller there, P13. So, there's been lots of racing action, it has to be said, so far in Canada. Not all we were expecting at all, but Barrichello is also through on Fittipaldi there for 24th. So, yeah, I was not expecting, I think, this level of racing in Canada. But speaking of, I think there's a move been made there. Jojo Leto's through on Morbidelli there. So Jojo Leto through on Morbidelli. Jojo Leto makes the move on the Italian. We have Nigel Mansell running P3 for Ferrari. They make their way through the first few corners there, but Hill is, I believe, yeah, so Hill's doing quicker laps than Mansell at the moment, so Hill is chasing him down as we speak. So will Mansell be able to hold on to that P3? Do not know. So, I think now we're just waiting for the first round of pit stops to take place. Now right on board with the back of Nigel Mansell, driver for Ferrari. Making his way through the final chicane, we just slowly see Hill trying to catch up to the Ferrari of Nigel Mansell. Nigel Mansell can hold on to that P3. It will be his first podium. It won't be Ferrari's first podium this season. They secured that in Spain, which has to be said was probably quite late for the Ferrari squad. But if they can come back from this, I think that'll be rather incredible. They didn't have the most ideal start with Ferrari. They had engine failures in pretty much all of their first 4 races, bar Imola, which was good, because Elliot Vega could come home with his first points for the team. They haven't had 2 cars cross the line yet, though. They've only had 1. So this will be really interesting to see if they can do it this time. They've focused heavily on reliability upgrades. That is Senna there. I think it's best we look at this big traffic jam here that is this battle for, I want to say P19. And it's the closest battle on the track we have at this very moment. Mika Häkkinen there, with David Coulthard behind him. I believe it's Schumacher as well, just behind. It might be Frenton, no, it's Frenton actually, I think. They'll make their way into turn 1 there. Mohammed, Verstappen, Barrichello, Fittipaldi, Martin Brundle. He's catching up. He's back in the pack here. Brundle, after that stop, he's making great haste. There's just Verstappen behind Mohammed. Back for P22, obviously our point scorer in the first round. But there we go. Is he looking for a move here on the Minardis and get that one done? So Jos Verstappen now up into P22. That's Coulthard right on the back of Hakkinen as well. Is he going to send one down the inside of the hairpin? Yes, he is. So Coulthard now up into P19, just ahead of Mika Hakkinen, Hightower, Frentzen and Verstappen. So now make their way down this section of track here and to the chicane, Wolves champions. Now do just cut to Senna, who does still have Irvine relatively close, not massively close behind him. You can still see him in your pictures. So Senna not pulling away as much as I think was expected, but he is still commanding this race at this very moment. Now heads into the chicane. Now right on board with Chicella there. Bit of a mistake, I think, into that chicane. Is that going to give impetus for Larini there? Maybe someone down the inside at this hairpin. No, Larini stays behind. Goes for the safer option. Here we go. Is he going to try one into the hairpin? Not the hairpin, the chicane here. No, he isn't. So, there we go. So, I think it's best as well. While Larini maybe going down the inside. He's going to get that one done. He is indeed. So, while we're just in a bit of a stalemate phase at the moment in this race, I think it's best we talk about the constructors' standings as they are at the moment. So, at the moment, Williams lead the constructors' standings on 41 points. Just ahead of Benetton with 29 points. And then just behind Benetton, Tyrrell, who amazingly have 16 points. All scored by Gerhard Berger, who is running in 8th place at the moment. So Berger is flying in his yellow flags. It's Michael Rydell. Rydell's out with an engine problem. Have a look. Yeah, it cuts out very early on there. Rydell is out. So Renault. It's another Renault engine. I'm not sure what's going on at the moment, but that was obviously we all know. Johnny Herbert retired last race with an engine problem. That was an oil leak, actually, I believe it was. But now, this is a full-blown engine problem. So, Rydell is out of this race. Things were looking good for Benetton, but unfortunately, there still are. Eddie Irvine is still in this thing. And Nigel Mansell as well under pressure from another Renault-powered, a Renault-powered car, shall I say. Damon Hill is right up behind Nigel Mansell. He's going to try one down the inside. No, he isn't. We're going to ride on board with Damon Hill here. And he's chasing Nigel Mansell down. His fellow compatriot. He's going to maybe try and make a move on him going to the chicane. Got that chicane, the hairpin. He is. He's going to send one down the inside. He is indeed. Here we go. Damon Hill down the inside of Mansell, and he's got it done to Damon Hill now up into P3 for Williams. Damon Hill in P3. Ahead of Mansell. Mansell P4. He should be fine in P4. I don't think Herbert's going to be catching up. But that's just what Hill needed, if I'm being honest. But let's see how this race unfolds. As there's a move being made there, Rubens Barrichello down the inside of Fittipaldi, as now Brundle is on the back of this train. to Brundle after pitting has now caught the back of the train, the back of the pack, back of the grid. So good on Brundle there. Never say die. Fortunately, Gordon's engines have been exploding quite a lot this season, so... Oh! Mansell! The smoke, fire! Fire! Mansell is on fire! He's smoking! Ferrari 17 laps in. They've invested so much into reliability and clearly the odds are just not stacked up against them. As there we go, through goes Herta. Mansell, engine's fully cut out now. Alesi's now going to be getting past Mansell, but he needs to stop that car. It is on fire. I'm not sure what's been going on there. Jojo Loto pit, so the first pit stops are now coming in, but Mansell, it's just so unfortunate for Ferrari. The odds are just not stacked up against him at the moment. But that's Mansell on fire out of this race with an engine problem, pretty obviously. I mean, that was up in flames there, that engine. But Verstappen pits. But unfortunately, Mansell will go no further, and that is honestly really unfortunate for Ferrari. We all know what they're capable of. Senna's in the pits now as well, so Senna boxes. Eddie Irvine takes the lead of the Canadian Grand Prix. He'll probably be coming in the next few laps, but Ferrari bringing in Senna. But Ferrari can still hold on to the hope that Senna could well win this race. But they'll be praying the engine makes it the whole way. Damon Hill now up into second, and how is Senna going to come out here? He's going to go side by side with John Alesi, but John Alesi backs out, realising that Senna is probably not his race. But Video Panis in the pit lane now, but Ferrari just suffering at the moment. There's Herta now. Maybe he's going to try down the inside of Herbert now. So on pure pace, Herta is now through on Johnny Herbert. So that puts Herta into a net P4 position. So top job there from Herta. Is Irvine going to respond to Ferrari? No, Benetton are going to do their own thing here. Senna's round! Senna's made a mistake! Senna's off! Senna's made a mistake! He spun it. Oh my! Senna! Senna spun around at the hairpin. That's going to give Irvine the lead of this race. He needs to get out of the gravel. Senna! Is he stuck? Damon Hill pits. Senna with a crucial mistake. He's going to have to get out of that now. But he isn't. He's going to wait. Is he stuck? Is he? What's going on? Mancinelli goes through. Coulthard goes through. Frentzen goes through. Panis goes through. Senna's 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st. What's Senna? What's he doing? Senna! He needs to get out of that gravel. What is... And he's finally out. And Senna. This is going to be a big comeback story now for the Brazilian. He's now got 49 laps. He's just unlapped himself from Irvine pitting, but Irvine takes the provisional lead of this race. Claudio Lombardi is going to have very swift words with Senna, I think, after this. That is a crucial, crucial mistake. As we cut to the camera's cut there to the Lotus and Ligier having a battle. But Senna with the spin. I think he'll be happy if he can get some points out of that, but he's pushing too hard on those fresh cold set of tyres, I assume. Unfortunately, that spells the end to his race, but Eddie Irvine now. I think Alesi and Herbert are doing one-stops. As is Berger, maybe? I'm not sure what Berger's doing. But Eddie Irvine is in the lead of this race. But it's heartbreak for all Ferrari fans out there today in Canada. And Senna spins out of the lead. That's another car in the pit lane there as well. I think that's a Lotus. Yep, Michael Schumacher pits. So Michael Schumacher in the pit lane. And Michael Schumacher boxes, but Eddie Irvine now is looking for a move on Jean Alesi for P2, and he's going to get that one done. Qualified pits in the meantime, but through he goes. Eddie Irvine through on Jean Alesi. Go on, Berger. See all this going down. He wants a piece of it. Morbidelli now has Hill going down his inside. There we go. Through he goes. Giancarlo Fisichella now has Herta going down the inside. The Herta has boxed as well. The Herta's through there. Sonny Hayes, Sergio Leto, Mancinelli, Panis, Brundle, Prenton, Mika, Mohammed Fittipaldi, Barrichello, Schumacher, Inui, Coulthard, Verstappen, and then just behind them is Senna running last place after that mistake, crucial mistake. But Eddie Irvine now chasing Herbert down for the lead of this race. So Herbert and Alesi I know for a fact on one stop. I'm not sure about Berger. Berger could be on for a one stop, but I am not sure what's going on with the Tyrrell squad there. But it's genuine strategy here. That Hightower Fred's in the pit lane. Luka Hakkinen, the pressure there from Mohammed. There's Fittipaldi, Schumacher, Barrichello, Inui. And there we go. So Senna is first objective. Get past these back marker cars. Senna's through on Verstappen. At the final corner there. Senna up into P22 now. There is... Cameras are cutting to our provisional race leader, who does still have one more stop to make after this. Berger pits now. So Berger is in the pit lane. This will be very telling as if he's going to do a one stop or a two stop. I think he's going to do a two stop. Be impressive if he can pull a one stop off from this position, but yeah, this race has been turned entirely on its lid. There's now Panis going to try and go down the inside of Alex Mancinelli. Mancinelli, what's he gone? Oh, in the pit lane. There's Mancinelli pits. There's Mancinelli in the pit lane there. And that's Mohammed and Hakkinen having a bit of a battle there. I think Mohammed got past Hakkinen. So Hakkinen now into where's Hakkinen? 15. Hakkinen now running P15 for LaRousse. Eddie Irvine though, still chasing Johnny Herbert down. P1. And there's Senna though, has a bit of a battle ahead of him. That's going to slow him down a lot. Here we go, we're going to go on board with Eddie Irvine now as he chases The race leader, Johnny Herbert, down. Johnny Herbert has not pit yet. Irvine has. So with 24 laps in the 69 lap race, we've had 2 retirements so far. Mansell and Rydell. Fittipaldi now comes into the pit lane. Now down the inside goes Irvine. There we go. Irvine into the lead of this race. So Irvine leads. Herbert's in second. And John Alesi running third. So Herbert, there's Fittipaldi though coming out of the pit lane. Just ahead of John Alesi. There's Damon Hill, Morbidelli. There's Herter chasing Morbidelli down. There's a bit of a lock-up there from Verstappen. I think there's a bit of a mistake there, as he's now on the fret from Hightail Frentzen behind. As Frentzen now pulls to the inside. He's going to get this one done. There he goes, Frentzen up into P22. So, Hightail Frentzen now in a pretty good position there, I think. Well, I say pretty good position. I don't know why I said that. Not great for Lotus, but pretty good overtake, I think, is what I was meaning to say. As there we go, and Senna now in 19th on his journey back up the grid. Johnny Herbert, P2. Eddie Irvine though running P1. Is he looking to maybe win again? It's John Alesi now trying to lap Fittipaldi. Fittipaldi not making it easy. Making him pick different lines, but there we go. So John Alesi now up into P3. Oh no, sorry, remaining in P3. He's now lapped Fittipaldi. Is now Irvine laps Jos Verstappen. Eddie Irvine at the moment looking very good. Herbert is still trying to hold on with everything he can. We've got Alesi here. And Johnny Herbert laps Verstappen there. Eddie Irvine through on Frentzen. So at the moment the race is just a little bit of a stalemate. Not all too much is going on. I'm just going to put it on automatic mode, the cameras. Just while all the gaps are sort of... There's no massive battles going on the track at the moment. But Eddie Irvine is flying out ahead. There's Mancinelli there in P20. So Mancinelli, who I think has just been overtaken by Senna. So Senna, still with a lot of work to do. Got 40 laps left. As Senna put himself in the position that he'd like, but Mancinelli there running P20. Eddie Irvine goes him down, a bit of a lock up there from Leto around the first few corners, but go on board with Eddie Irvine, our race leader, inherited after Senna made that tragic mistake. But I think Prix will be hoping Senna can maybe get some points out of this one. It's Eddie Irvine though, getting past a lapped car there, so Eddie Irvine passed on the Syntec. But Eddie Irvine getting that one done. But Irvine is honestly, he's flying at the moment. As you know, unfortunately, we have been denied a thrilling race with him and Ayrton Senna. Unfortunately, we will not be seeing that. Jos Verstappen is getting lapped by Jean Alesi there, so Jean Alesi is through on that lap car. As Eddie Irvine now lapping Alex Mancinelli. Alex Mancinelli running P20. There we go. All the gaps have really sort of spread out quite a bit, really, I think it's fair to say. But Eddie Irvine leads this race, so while we're all in this sort of silent period, I think it's best we talk about the standings as they are at the moment. As I did start on them, but I think something pretty drastic happened, so maybe, who knows, if I start talking about the standings again, we'll have another engine explode, because that seems to happen every time I get into my boring talks. But it's Herbert pits, by the way, so Herbert is just coming out of the pit lane. But at the moment, leading the constructors is Williams on 41 points, then it's Benetton with 29, Tyrrell with 16, McLaren with 15. And then just behind Tyrrell, no, just behind McLaren, is Ferrari, and then it's Sauber, Lotus, Pacific, and then Simtek in 9th. Ligier in 10th with 1 point, Footwork in 11th with 1 point, and the only three teams that haven't scored points yet are LaRousse, Jordan, and Minardi. So I think we all thought Jordan would get there first after the first few laps of this race, but unfortunately Brundle threw that one away. So let's get our Berger with a bit of a lock up there, going into hairpin. Berger running P8. I believe he has... Yeah, so Berger has pit. So Berger running P8 on his own accord at the moment. I'm not sure if Larini still has to stop. Morbidelli comes in though. So Morbidelli pits, but I think Morbidelli's on a one stop. So Morbidelli's on a one stop. Is that a car slowing? I think Coulthard's slowing down. I think there's an issue with that Simtech. Is this Coulthard? Yep, Coulthard's out. There's a problem with the Simtech. That's Coulthard out. That's his second retirement this season with a transmission problem. Coulthard's out. So his last retirement being Imola. He got 8th last round. That's incredible performance from Coulthard, but now Simtech will go no further. I'm not entirely sure what's going on here. Like the marshals are deciding to have a bit of fun and games here with multi-million-pound machinery, but hey, guess I'm not going to judge them for having a bit of fun. Well, I mean that just can't be shown on picture, really, can it? Morbidelli running P14. I think they've cut those cars on the side. They're not going to be taken away by any crane or anything, but yeah. So that's Coulthard out. So Simtech, their sole car in this race is out. So that means they will gain nothing out of this race, but they won't lose anything either. So I guess they can be happy with that in a way, but obviously they're in the negative. So I think they kind of want to be surviving. A little bit more than that, but Jos Verstappen and Jos Verstappen and Fittipaldi having a bit of a ding dong. Fittipaldi is passed on Verstappen, so Fittipaldi up into 22nd position there. So Pacifics having their own little battle here. Who can finish ahead of who? Now, Verstappen, while he has scored Pacific's points, ever since round 2, he's become more of a second driver really in the team. As Fittipaldi, while not scoring any points, has been a lot more consistent than Verstappen has. While Verstappen amazingly got points in the first round, I'm not sure. Reliability's definitely gone a lot better now. As Fischer-Keller in the pits. Sonny Hayes also follows him into the pit lane. Brundle is in 9th now, by the way, so Brundle having a good race after struggling initially. But now camera's cut to Jean Alesi running P2 for McLaren, so Jean Alesi having a bit of fun here as camera's cut to Eddie Irvine. P1 is now behind Sonny Hayes, so Sonny Hayes in the way a little bit here. Sonny Hayes will have to leave out. There we go. I think he's doing that just now as the Benetton flies past. There we go. So Sonny Hayes might just finish his first race of the season. Maybe not in the position he'd want to be in, but it's a finish nonetheless. As Fischer-Keller now under pressure from Senna. Fischer-Keller. There we go. Senna is through on Fischer-Keller. And Senna's bid to move up the grid as John Alesi now as well is going to lap Mancinelli. Through Alesi goes on the Italian. But there is Eddie Irvine leading this race. But he's actually still catching up to Senna, funnily enough. A lap in. Or maybe the gap's staying consistent. I don't think we're all too sure up in the comms box. But it's lap 36 of 69, and there is still 23 cars in this race. That is a lot more than I think was expected. I think we were expecting a little bit more, obviously. We are only halfway, but that's not it, as we still are right on board there with Sonny Hayes. Alesi in the pit lane. So Alesi pits. Where will he come out? He drops to 5th. Is he going to drop to any lower than that? No. Out he comes. Alesi comes out in P5 for McLaren, just ahead of Larini. There's Damon Hill in P2 there for Williams. So, Damon Hill now trying to lap the Pacific of, I think that's Verstappen he's trying to lap. I think it is, yeah. As there goes Senna. So, Senna pulls the trigger and comes into the pit lanes. Senna is in the pits now. As down the inside goes Fisichella there for P14. Through he goes. So Fisichella now running P14 at the Irvine is going to get stuck in all this traffic here. There's Schumacher looking down the inside of Panis. He's going to get that one done for P10. He is indeed. Schumacher up into P10. Now, the interesting thing about Lotus, they have not scored points since round 1. They've got a podium with Schumacher in Brazil and P6 for Frentzen, but they've not been able to do any better than that ever since. So, unfortunately, their engines are not the most reliable so far this season, but I think everyone's reliability, see, everyone's upgraded reliability, so engines aren't expiring as much as usual. Irvine, that's risky, my friend. There we go, trying to lap the cars, and doing so with a bit of pizzazz, shall I say. Brundle pits, so Brundle is in the pit lane, that's probably his last stop, I want to say, for this race. Or maybe he's doing 2-stopper, I am not sure. But here we go, there's Mohammed pits as well now, so Mohammed is in the pit lane. I think everyone's coming to, well, a few people are coming to the pit lane there, as out comes the Jordan of Taki and Brundle, not Inui. Brundle comes out behind Taki and Inui, shall I say. Now, cameras cut to Damon Hill, as they now cut to Irvine. Through he goes on Taki Inui. And the Irvine through on Inui. Not for a position, obviously, just to lap him. Unfortunately, I kind of have to make those things interesting. Because no one's exploding this race. But there we go. That's speaking of, as I said, the move position, and Taki Inui down to 14. So Brundle up into P13, but this is going to allow Larini. Sorry, Larini's in the pits now. Larini boxes, but maybe Sonny Hayes trying to send one down the inside of the hairpin. Probably not. Pretty clumsy if he tried to do that, but he's not. There we go. Herta running P3 as well, mind you, from McLaren. So Herta in a good position there for Van der Pete's squad. Maybe Herta can claim his first podium of this season. How happy would he be if he could get that one done? His first podium. He's not had the best results so far of Herta, but the first time he's really outpacing Alesi. So, it'll be very interesting to see how this one shapes up. But out flying down. So, let's go. Panis is out. Panis is up in flames. Panis, for the footwork, is out with an engine problem. So, Panis, again, struggling with the engine. Or footwork, shall I say, in general. Panis is out. Morbidelli is their last lifeline of hope. So, well, hopefully, Morbidelli can get the car into points. That's really unfortunate there. Footwork. I think it's fair to say Panis could have been on for points today, but the engine gods weren't in his favour. That's really unfortunate for footwork, but you know, there's still loads of rounds left. 10 rounds left to go after this, so anything can happen, and it probably will. But Herbert is being chased down by Alesi. Pace of Alesi just behind him. Alesi is flying at this very moment. And there's a move going on up ahead. Barrichello there trying to look down the inside of Jos Verstappen. And that's Barrichello through. So, but Verstappen in 22nd now. Barrichello up in 21st. Herta still P3. Senna is flying at the moment. Trying to claw back the deficit. But I think unfortunately he spun a bit too early on. Too late, sorry, in the race. All the gaps that dissipated with join, and yeah, it's not great there for Ayrton, but you know, he's doing the best he can with what he's got. So unfortunately, after that mistake, all he can do is just push as hard as he can, which he is this very moment. But Eddie Irvine leads still, trying to make it 2-2. Form has been impeccable these last few rounds. Damon Hill has not had much to respond. But if Damon Hill is to finish P3 this race, he will be on par with Eddie Irvine. Points for lead of the championship. So Eddie Irvine and Damon Hill are very close. Very close in the championship at the moment for drivers, which is quite interesting, as to be said. Because we want a nice close championship battle, and there's Senna getting past that Mancinelli for P15. It is indeed. So Senna is through on Mancinelli for P15. But yeah, it's Damon Hill and Irvine that are really sort of our closest championship protagonists. It's Alesi now as well, through on Herbert. I don't remember that happening, but Alesi is through on Herbert. Top job there. Yeah. Sonny Hayes would lock up going into that final chicane there. Thought he was headed for the gravel there. That was close for Sonny Hayes. Come on, mate, you've got to finish this race. Haven't finished a single race yet this season. Well, it is worth mentioning that, yeah, Sonny Hayes is the only full-time driver that did not finish a race this season. He's been out for 5 races so far. Larini is on fire. Olivier Ford is on fire. And he's pulling up at the same place where so many other cars have. And he's out. So Larini, Olivier, is out of this race with an oil leak. So Nicola Larini is out. Olivier, after he's our only point scorer for the squad. He got them in Monaco, but now he's out. So some really unfortunate there for Larini, but that is racing, unfortunately, and especially racing in this era that we've got at the moment. There's going to be a lot of engine failures, as even with reliability upgrades, Fittipaldi getting overtaken by Mika Hakkinen. Fittipaldi running 19th place. He's got Herta behind him. He's going to try and lap these guys. Yeah, so that is Larini out of this race. So rather unfortunately, Larini does retire. There's John Alesi running a little bit wide. It's going to allow Herbert to catch up a little bit, but John Alesi running quite wide. And McLaren, who I'm not sure if he's going to try and get to the end or not. Need to have a look, really. Let me just ride, drive as I can. No. But yeah, so Alesi's trying to get to the end. Herbert is going to try and get to the end. You need to get to the leaders, really. Let's have a look. Eddie Irvine is pitting in the next 4 laps. By second place. Where is he? Damon Hill is pitting again. So Damon Hill's pitting again. Herta. Oh, Herta's going to check as well. Herta is also pitting again. So Alesi will probably inherit second, and he isn't pitting again. So this will be quite interesting to see what the dynamic will be on this final few stints for Irvine, Hill and Herta. I think Irvine will come out in the lead. Irvine's pretty much secured the win unless something else happens. Like I say, anything can happen. Hill is in second. Probably will drop down to maybe 5th or 6th. I want to say probably 6th or 7th maybe, I'm not sure. Damon Damon Hill probably around there. Herta will probably drop to around there, I want to say, as well. No, right on camera's point to Mancinelli there. That's Irvine in the pit lane, I think. Is that Irvine in the pit, or is that Alesi? No, yes, Alesi. So less I pit, sorry. Schumacher's on fire at the moment, but he's going to have to pit again. Morbidelli isn't pitting again. So, Morbidelli, if luck goes his way, he could well be on for scoring his first points of the season. He's now up into 7th, but he will have fast-moving cars behind him. So, we will see. Berger as well is another one to look out for. We'll see if Berger is going to pit again. Here. Yeah, so Berger will pit again. Berger is going to pit again, so Berger will probably come out behind Morbidelli, if I have to guess. Hindsight, Frenton's out! Frenton smoking. That's Frenton out of this race. Frenton, he has struggled recently, and that will not be something he'll be happy with. He's out with a water leak. So Frenton out. And Herta pits. So Herta's in the pit lane. So Herta dropped down to 5th. Is he going to go down to 6th? Probably. There we go. Herta's down into 6th. I think he'll probably come out in 6th there for Herta. So Herta will come out of the pits in 6th position. But, yeah, so that is Frenton out of the race. So, we all know Frenton so far this year, after scoring his points in Brazil, he's been on pace, but unfortunately his last 2 rounds he's just struggled for pace. I mean, a bit it's surprising for a driver like Frenton to be struggling with pace that much, but unfortunately that is what it is. And Irvine pits, Sir Irvine in the pit lane. This is important. Very, very important. Where will Irvine come out? Will he come out just behind this train of cars that our cameras are pointing at as he's now rolling down the pit lane? Will Benetton, or have Benetton, timed this to perfection? Let's see. Where is he? He's out of the pit lane. Here we go. Hill probably got held behind the lap cars here, and he's not going to lap them. But Irvine comes out in the lead. He pits in the lead and stays out in the lead. Hill, though, is getting held up by Mancinelli quite a lot as Hill gets the move done. And he's leapt him anyway, but Mancinelli helping Eddie Irvine there. Maybe on purpose? Probably not. But he's through, so that's that then. So Irvine in the lead, and he'll probably stay there for the next 23 laps unless something very drastic happens, but there's Mohammed now. And Senna, in other news, is also up into P12. So Senna is also challenging Hayes as well. I think the cameras ought to catch that. And yeah, they are. So here we go. So Senna now challenging Hayes. P11. Senna is on his comeback mission. He's a lap down though at the moment, unfortunately. But is he going to get past Hayes? Let's have a look. He's in the slipstream. He's going to try it down the inside here. Surely he's going to send one. He is indeed. Through he goes. Senna, P11. For Ferrari. So, Ayrton Senna now. Are points still on the cards? Don't know. He's still 20 seconds realistically behind any form of points. Probably not. Half a minute behind points. So, if he can catch that up in 22 laps, I think it's fair to say then he's done a very good job of recovering from that in the spin he had earlier on in this race. So, Alesi still running in P3. Pace is looking not where he probably wants. He's 23.9 a lap. Have a look. Herbert is 24.2 a lap. And let's see, Berger is 24 a lap. So Berger is slowly catching up to Herbert, but Herbert doesn't need to pit again. Berger is on lower fuel, so that is probably why. And then Herta as well, quite a distance behind, but I think when Alesi pits, he will come out quite close. But Senna's pitting again! Senna's in the pits, so Senna's going to go for one last final push stint, I guess, but that drops him out of the top 12. Senna hits. So that comes as a bit of a shock to me, but anyway, Irvine leads. Still. And Hill in second. Alesi now is going to try down the inside to lap Hacken, and he is indeed. Fittipaldi's in the pit lane as well now, but Alesi now lapped. Just lapped, shall I say. LaRue says Damon Hill. Again, seems like he didn't have the pace earlier on in this race, but he's made his way back up, so not too bad of a job there for the Benetton. Here we go, 21 laps remaining in this Canadian Grand Prix. This Canadian Grand Prix has had it all, really. A spinner from the race lead. We've had a lot of stuff happened. There you go, that's Senna getting past 16th. Senna now in 16th place. But he's now definitely going to be chasing Alesi down to unlap himself. But is he going to stay behind Alesi? Is he going to try and unlap himself? I'm not sure. John Alesi though. Now also we have to remember, Hill is going to pit again. So Hill has to pit again, but Alesi doesn't. So Alesi could get P2 here. Alesi could well get P2 for McLaren. Hill really has to put in a stonking last stint. Because if Hill pits now, he will drop probably to 6th. If I had to take a guess. Maybe 6th, I'm not sure. Probably 5th or 6th. Hill will drop down to if he pits now. And if he finishes any lower than 3rd, he'll be drawing. Well, if he finishes 3rd, he'll be draw. Okay, yeah, Senna's unlapping himself. Senna unlapping himself. But if Hill finishes any lower, if he finishes in 3rd, he'll be drawing with Irvine in the standings. But if Hill finishes below 3rd, Damon Hill, Eddie Irvine will come out of this leading the Drivers' Championship. Yes, so yeah, my calculations are correct. Attacking every pits. But, yeah, this will be really interesting here. Damon Hill inherits the lead. Why is Damon Hill inheriting the lead? Irvine's slowing! Irvine's slowing! Irvine is in smoke! Oh my... Irvine! No! Irvine was set to win this race. And he's out. With an engine problem. Benetton... The last double DNF being the Brazilian Grand Prix. They're out. Benetton with 19 laps to go. Irvine retires from the Canadian Grand Prix. That puts Hill in the lead of the race. Senna's up into 13th, but Hill is in the lead quite considerably as well. And he's not yet to pit, but Hill just has to have a really good last stint and he could take the win here. But you can still see Alesi in your pictures, so the race win is still hotly debated. But I don't know. I think Hill might come across the line victor after this one. We don't know. We don't know. But that is really unfortunate. Berger's into the pit lane now. So Berger pits for his final pit stop. That'll probably promote Herta into 4th, Lato maybe into 5th. Probably not actually. But that's heartbreak. That is heartbreak for Benetton, who I think was so on for a win there. That's a double DNF for Benetton, both with engine problems as well for Benetton. Both with engine problems. That's something that needs to be checked out in the Benetton HQ because that cannot be happening anymore. They're in the constructors' fight, and that is there's way too many reliability problems, which is surprising because it's a Renault engine. It should not be expiring that much, but unfortunately it is. Now Williams have only had one mechanical problem relating to engine as well. And the Herbert had that oil leak in Spain, but now it's bad for Benetton. It's bad. I mean, in Monaco it was a puncture, to be fair, that took Irvine out with, again, not too long in the race to go. But Rydell has actually been fine, to be fair, for the last 4 rounds. Rydell has just been maybe not as quick as I think Benetton would like. They haven't been as fast. They haven't, But I mean, this race they seem quite competitive. I mean, he also got there. He got podium in Spain. So Rydell has been fine since Brazil. Eddie Irvine also, to be fair, has been fine since Brazil. It was just a puncture, but yeah, that's another retired double with DNF for Benetton, and I just can't quite believe it. I can't fathom. Anyway, I'm sure that'll be spoken about at the end of this race. But Hill pits. So Hill is in the pit lane as we speak. Tyres off, tyres on. 19 laps of fuel is going in that car, but Jean Alesi takes the lead of the Canadian Grand Prix. Herbert goes up into second. Is anyone else going to be getting past Damon Hill? No. So Damon Hill comes out P3. But he's got a lot of work to do in these next 16 laps to catch and pass Alesi. Alesi leads. So Alesi for McLaren. That's the Prix. Hill isn't as quick as he thinks he is, but it's all down to Hill here. Can he pace down and pass Alesi by the end of this race? Now remember, Hill has also got his teammate to pass. And this is going to be close. This is going to be quite exciting here, I think. So Alesi leading for McLaren. Alesi on to win his first race, not only in F1, but also in GP2OS and for McLaren. So here we go. How far back is Hill? Let's have a look at the gaps. Hill's coming across the line. 14 seconds. So Hill has to be gaining at least a second a lap to Alesi to catch him before the end of this race. This is getting quite close here. This has the potential to be very close. Will Alesi be our shock winner here today? How many laps has he got? Yep, so Alesi does have enough fuel to make it to the end. So he's not planning on pitting again. But Jean Alesi is on course to win for McLaren if he can hold on. That is very key. If he can hold on, then it'll be a historical win for McLaren, I think. In a car that's arguably probably not their most competitive car they've made. They would have liked to have probably been a lot more competitive for this year, but at the moment it's not looking too bad for Alesi. Alesi retired last round with an engine problem. But let's see the gap as Hill crosses the line. How much is Hill gaining? Hill is gaining about 2 seconds a lap here. What, 1.5 seconds a lap? I had to guess. So Alesi really got propelled to the metal here as Hill is closing that gap. So there's how many laps is there to go? 14. Hill will probably get there before the end of this race, I have to say. But we will see. Hill's tyres might not last. And he might slow down as well, but we do not know. This is where it gets exciting. Here's Damon Hill. He's flying. He's just nearly set his personal best. He's only 1,000 off his personal best. He is flying at the moment. But we will see what he's getting on this next lap here. But that gap between him and Alesi is, I think, what everyone is going to be keeping their eyes on for the rest of this race. There's John Alesi. You can see Herbert. Well, that's Hill, sorry, in the picture, then in the back picture there. But there we go. So Herbert crossed the line, is losing 2 tenths a lap. Hill, let's see the gap. That's a second, so second and a half. So it's a second and a half a lap for Hill at the moment. Is his pace difference to Alesi. So, you know, right on board with Damon Hill. Now this traffic will hold him up. So this traffic is going to hold Damon up. How crucial will this be for Alesi's race that these 2 cars up ahead hold Brit up? Let's have a look. So they're going to be battling as well. So this is going to be annoying for Damon. These 2 cars are going to be battling. Yep, that's slowing him down a lot. It's slowing him down a lot. If he's now going to try and get past the LaRousse. LaRousse obviously won't put much of a fight as blue flags are being waved. But now Taki Inui has potential to be the saviour in every McLaren fan's heart. As they're now around this tight, twisty part of the track here. The World Champions, Damon Hill. How much time will he have gained or lost that lap? Let's have a look. It was 11.1 last lap. What's it now? Oh, he lost 4 tenths. He lost 4 tenths that lap. Did Damon getting stuck in traffic? Did Damon lost 4 tenths? The chase is on, but how much longer? He's going to get stuck behind Taki Inui here as well. So Damon Hill is getting stuck behind Taki Inui, and he's going to try and lap him, but Taki Inui is making it hard for him. He's making it go the long way around. And there we go, so that is Damon Hill past that Carson. Taki Inui is unlapping himself! Taki Inui is like, no thank you, I think I can be quicker, and he's now just unlapping himself and holding Hill up! I think Taki Inui might be investigated here. Taki Inui probably be investigated there for being a nuisance, I guess. But no, let's have a look. I'm not sure what the FIA are going to do about this. Because now, right now, he's just holding Hill up. I don't think Hill's going to be very happy. Let's have a look. Hill's surely going to get past here. He just lost a second that lap. And there we go. Through goes Hill on Inui. I don't think he'll have problems with Inui again, but that has just lost Hill some crucial catching up time. Senna goes up into P11. But that has just lost. That's just lost Hill loads of time, that has. That's crucial time. Now he has to be gaining, basically second a lap really, and he has to get past Alesi. So, and he's also got more lap traffic. So, the heat is on here, and Hill is really going to be putting everything into that car. You can see Alesi, you can see Herbert as well, his teammate. But Damon Hill there, getting caught up in lap traffic, has hampered him, but it's going to be great for McLaren. McLaren will be loving this. Who knows, maybe they gave Lot Jordan a phone call, but no. Obviously that did not happen, but, you know, there's now Hill catching up the Minardi of, I think that's Mohammed. He's catching up there. But that's a second. He's only doing a second a lap now as Hill. And that is crucial. That is very, very crucial. So, there's 10 laps to go. He's doing a second a lap. He's only 11 seconds behind. Is this the chance for Alesi to secure his first win in GP2OS? And McLaren's first win in GP2OS as well, remember? And Van der Peet's first manager win as well. Is this McLaren's day? In a day that I think would have definitely been Senna's. Senna has, the engine survived on Senna's car, so there's no arguing that Senna would have won had he not had the spin. But Damon Hill, though, he's going to get past the Minardi pretty easily. I don't think Mohammed's going to put much of a fight. No, he isn't. So Hill now has no lap traffic ahead of him. Just want to remind you, no lap traffic ahead of him anymore. It's pure pace from here on out. Let's see, so Alesi crosses the line now to start lap 60. 9 laps left to go. let's see what the gaps are going to be. How much did he gain that lap? A second. So it's a second again for Hill. So he's gaining a second a lap on the cars ahead. So I'm sure he'll get Herbert. The question is, he's got Herbert to pass, but he's also got Alesi to pass. With 10 laps left to go. Is it possible? Is it possible? Anyone still watching? Let us know. Because this is going to get very spicy. Alesi trying to cling on for dear life, and Martin Brundle runs quite wide there. But another shock as well, might I add, this race, that Jordan has survived a lot. I mean, you know, the Lamborghini engine, not known for being reliable, and Jordan have worked on the reliability on that engine, and maybe that might be it. They have poured money into helping the reliability, but wow, it's doing them quite well at the moment. But there we go. There's Herbert running P2 at the moment. Herbert is yet to get his first win this season as well. So, yep, there's lap 61 we're on now. There's Herbert losing a 10th a lap to Alesi, but that's another second carved in there for Hill. Hill is chasing his teammate down. Hill desperate for that win. Now right on board with Alesi. Struggling so hard, bless him. But he started P3 on the grid. Damon Hill started 5th. So John Alesi. But this is going to get close. Either team order's going to come into effect here, or is Herbert going to purple fight? Damon Hill, he's losing, he's not doing a second a lap now. Damon Hill is not doing a second a lap, oh my goodness. Is this McLaren's day today? Damon Hill's tyres are dying, he's spent them trying to overtake the lapped cars. Is this McLaren's day? But let's see though, Damon Hill might just get his teammate before the end. This is getting tight now. There's only 6 laps left to go once Alesi crosses the line. There we go. Let's see the gap that Hill carves in. It's only 7/10 a lap now. I don't think it's going to be enough. Alesi might just hold on to the win here. Alesi might just hold on. There's Mohammed now, gets lapped by Herter. Herter as well. P4 for McLaren, it's been great for McLaren. But this is crazy. I'm you know, Hill struggling to catch up now. Those tyres have definitely left him. They've definitely left him, those tyres. He's damaged them far too much trying to catch up. There is John Alesi now. He won, but can he hold on? Can the car hold on? That is the question. Sonny Hayes. P12 for Sonny Hayes. Can he cross the line? for the first time this season as John Alesi. And then we're going to ride on board with Damon Hill, though, just for a lap around the Canadian Grand Prix. Well, the circuit Schindler now. Oh, but those tyres are leaving him now, unfortunately, I think. But I think he still has one last gas attempt, though, to get past Herbert. Senna as well, underneath, just behind Schumacher. So Senna's probably going to make a move. You might just see him go up to 10th here. There you go. Senna up into P10 now. Ferrari. But Hill, I don't think. Alesi crossed the line, lap 65 out of 69. Let's see the gaps now. 4 tenths. Oh my goodness. It's only 4 tenths now Hill is gaining. I don't think it's going to be enough. He's going to probably get Herbert here, but let's have a look. There's teammate on teammate action there. But I can't. I don't think he's not going to get Alesi. He isn't. And he's also struggling to catch Herbert up a bit here as well. There has been a record low of retirements in this race, so it has to be said. So whatever McLaren have done, they've played the strategy perfectly here. Really pull the blind up at McLaren. Alesi starts lap 66 out of 69. But Hill again struggling to catch up to his teammate. What's his lap going to be? It's still that time, but he's not gaining enough on Alesi. Is Alesi really going to come home with a win here? He's got 2 podiums so far this year. And is he going to make it 3? And also with a win in Canada. Hill, though, really trying to chase down Herbert here. Oh, what's happened there? Okay. What was that about? Let's have a look. Was that a bit of a mistake from her? What was that? A lockup from Herbert. It's a lockup from Herbert. That's definitely not going to help his teammate try and catch Alesi up. So it seems like Herbert is getting under pressure from his teammate. So I don't think team orders are coming into effect it. With Alesi out, crosses the line to start lap 67 out of 69. As Hill is chasing down Herbert. As Hill is chasing Herbert down now. Hill chasing Herbert. Here we go. So Hill now. Is he going to get past Herbert before the end? I think he's now come to terms that I don't think he's going to get past Alesi, definitely before the end. He's lost a lot of time stuck behind Herbert. But here we go. It's going to be a bit of battling here. Is Hill going to make a move on Johnny Herbert? Nope, he's going to stick behind him. It's the battle for P2 we've got going on here, ladies and gents. Is he going to send one into the chicane? Herbert goes very defensive here as they now go down the inside as Hill. And he's through. Hill up into P2. But I think it's too late for the Brit. And I think Alesi might just hold on here. Here he is. Here is Alesi. Running P1 for McLaren. As we see the two Williams cars. But John Alesi now. It's some of his own traffic to manoeuvre here, but I don't think that'll affect him too much. And Sonny Hayes might actually finish his first race of the season as well. So, pretty good stuff if he can do that. There we go. I think he's going to get past Sonny Hayes here. That's very close, Sean. You're only lapping him, my friend. But he's through. That's very close. There's Brundle. Has also passed Morbidelli here. So Brundle gets past Morbidelli. Brundle now running 7th place. But I think it might be too late. Unfortunately, with that mistake earlier on, I don't think he's going to be getting Jordan any points this race. But Senna is flying at the moment. But unfortunately, again, I think it might just be P9. For the Brazilian, Jos Verstappen P19. But John Alesi comes around the final corner to start his final lap of the race here. Here we go. You can see the Williams in the cars in the back. As Hill is now closing 2 seconds a lap to Alesi, but it's too much, too late for the Williams pair. There's Brian Herter. Gerhard Berger as well in P5. That's another great finish for Tyrrell if we can get that one done. JJ Leto in 6th. But as we now are cutting to Jean Alesi on the final lap of this race for McLaren. He's now coming into the final sector. It's been a thrilling race, not as many retirements as we expected, but those retirements were key parts for Jean Alesi to take this win here. As you can see the Williams cars in the background, but they weren't enough. They weren't enough to deny the fast Frenchman as he now comes around these final 2 corners. Jean Alesi from McLaren Yamaha crosses the line to win the Canadian Grand Prix. Take a bow, Jean Alesi, he wins. Followed by Damon Hill in P2, Johnny Herbert P3, Brian Herter now for P4 as well. Sealing off what has been an excellent race for McLaren. Brian Herter still chasing the elusive podium, but P4 he will be happy with. Sakianu across the line 13th, Mohammed is in 14th, Berger now 5th place. 5th place in Spain, 5th place here. He crosses the line. Mick Hackett in 15th, Barrichello 16th. There's JJ Leto as well, scoring his first points of the season. Nishiate going to be happy with this one. JJ Leto, 6th place. Alex Vencinelli, P17. Fittipaldi has Martin Brundle right behind him. Martin Brundle will finish 7th. Morbidelli crosses the line in 8th place. Ayrton Senna, after that early spin, unfortunately doesn't take a win, but he does cross the line. P9, Giancarlo Fisichella P10, Jos Verstappen P19, Marcus Schumacher 11th. And that, ladies and gents, is it. Thank you for watching, and we will see you for the next race in France.